Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Carmela Southers. My pronouns are she and her, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. We are delighted you are with us here today, whether online or in person. It's great to be with you. No matter how you look or who you love, we are glad you're here. Even if you think flowers are a waste of carbon atoms, we appreciate you. We have an abundance of love and compassion here and are happy to share that with you. This morning, we will be discussing, there's more. Yeah, the expensive seats are still open, right? And the singers won't spit on you, we promise. This morning, we will be discussing radical acceptance. There are probably things in the world today that you find unacceptable. Let's talk about what to do with those things. I hope you'll join in the conversation. As David lights our chalice, consider this reading from the Chuang Tzu. The master accepts their situation and doesn't want anything else. If they find themselves rich and honored, they act as a rich person should act. If they are poor and neglected, they act as a poor person should act. In difficulty, they act as someone in difficulty should act. Life can present them with no situation in which they aren't master of themselves. Master of themselves. When they are in a high position, they don't bully subordinates. When they are in a low position, they don't fawn on superiors. They take responsibility for themselves and seek nothing from others. Therefore, they are never disappointed. The master lives in perfect serenity, arms open to whatever life brings them, whereas the unaware person walks on the edge of danger, continually trying to keep one step ahead of fate. We're also experimenting with doing joys and concerns first in our service. At any point, feel free to go drop a pebble in the water or light a candle for a private joy. If you have a significant joy or concern to share with the larger fellowship, please stand or just raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you. Please keep your comments brief so that everyone who needs to has a chance to share.
Well, happy Sunday, and I want to thank my friend here, Marion, who really likes to be outgoing and talking to a lot of people. She's a wonderful person. Was available today with all her antique hats, and some of us were lucky enough to grab one of them, and I want to thank you so much. It made my life very joyful this morning. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I'm super happy to be here today and to see so many lovely faces of people I love and cherish and haven't seen in a long time. So I'm happy to be with you.
Hi, my name's Lydia. I'm Marsha's friend, and I just want everyone to keep Marsha in your thoughts for her upcoming procedure that's possibly in June. So if we could just keep Marsha in our thoughts, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put in a plug, shameless plug, for the book next week that we're ready to read. It's Chosen Land, how Christians formed America and how America is reforming Christians. So get the book, start reading it. We're going to do intro through 1 and 2 chapters, and it's a lively discussion. 9 o'clock Sunday morning. Sorry.
Other joys and concerns?
Good morning, everyone. I have a joy. My sister Cole is here, and I'm so glad that she's come to be with us. But I also am reaching out to my community because I need my community's help. I have fur babies. Right now we are in between housing, and I've been boarding my fur babies somewhere, and it's getting too expensive. And I need help with someone that could possibly house them. I would help in any way, shape, or form. And I need my community right now, and that's why I'm here, and I'm so happy to be here because I know all of you have so much love for everybody in this room, no matter what our differences are. Thank you.
Do you have dogs or cats, or it might be helpful to know? You have kitties, okay. All right, thank you.
And I have both a joy and a concern. We just about lost Sheila Clark. She was dead. I kissed her on the forehead and said my goodbyes. But now she's our poster child Easter, because she's alive and well. And so that's a praise. So the concern is she got to go home for a couple of days, but then developed some complications, so she went back in the hospital, and now she's getting ready to go into a residential therapy program. So just keep her in your thoughts and prayers, and if you're interested in going to visit her, she would love some company, and I can share. Sorry? I wasn't sure if I should say that, but yes, she did. Okay, yes. Yeah, we'll get you pointed in the right direction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll keep these in our hearts. Now Kathy is going to come and lead us in singing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. If you've not dropped your, Kathy and Steve, if you've not dropped your flowers into one of the vases here up at the front, this is a good time to do it now as we sing. Please stand as you're able, and join in singing.
Hello, everybody. 35 years ago this summer, I went on my first date with my wife, and we saw Mandy Patinkin perform this song, so I hope I do it justice. When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, and why can't I? Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, and why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Lovely, thank you very much. All right, it is time for our flower communion. It's a joyful ritual that celebrates beauty, diversity, and the bonds of community. Each of us brings a flower this morning, a symbol of the gifts we offer and the lives that we share. Together, these blossoms create a living bouquet, a reminder that our differences are what make our spiritual garden truly radiant. We remember the words of Jesus, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin." And he taught that beauty and worth are not earned through striving, but flow naturally from the love and care of creation itself. And in the Buddhist tradition, we find the image of the lotus, a flower that rises from the mud, unstained and luminous, symbolizing the awakening that can emerge even from life's most difficult places. As we receive these flowers, we see in both the lily's trust and the lotus's courage, the faith to grow where we're planted, and the grace to blossom in the light that connects us all. When you take a new flower home today, may it remind you of this truth, that we are rooted in love, sustained by compassion, and blooming together in spirit. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask everyone to make their way around the outside, come this way, pick up a flower, whatever flower you like, and then turn to the person behind you and say, "You are as beautiful, you are as lovely, you are as precious as this flower." And then go around this way and find your way back to your seat. All right? So everybody does that. So everybody gets a blessing this morning. Everybody gets a flower this morning. All right? So let's stand. You can make your way around this way.
What did you put in there? I know yours is going down. I knew you meant for it. I just like that. I met her when I was 13. And she's the reason I became you.
Finally off of my medicine.
It's your
It's like, no, don't put a mask on. And, get back to the swing of things. I head off to my dad's on Wednesday in Arizona. So I will be there, and I'll be back on Tuesday.
I was very fascinated when they were doing a hike. I wanted to take the 30-year-old. I really want to go. This lady that didn't even know me was like, oh my gosh, let's go.
let's say thank you to Maddie. She played for 20 minutes straight. The fastest song I've ever known. She must be wore out by now. All right, RE is beginning right now. Our kids are studying the Baha'i faith this month. So if you are a school-aged human being, you're welcome to go to our RE class. Great hat. All right. I'm going to ask you a couple of survey questions, so I invite you to go to menti.com and enter the code 38460570. Or you can use that QR code. It takes you right there. I'm going to ask you a couple of survey questions. I'm almost positive I'm going to say something this morning that you're going to go, what? So, hang with me. Hang with me, all right? Here we go. Minty.com 38460570. That's right here, and it's also old school over there on the Better Together banner. So I encourage you to join in when you can. We had a rude awakening this morning. We discovered that our 1.5-year-old dog is a conservative Christian. He was seen this morning at 5 a.m. running around the house, and I swear he was saying, Christ is risen, hallelujah. I swear. We're going to have a talk about that. All right. There's your first question. How would you describe yourself? In almost every aspect of life, we face the perennial conflict between conservative and liberal. Back in the days of the Bible, the Jews were the pious, law-abiding traditionalists. Conversely, the Greeks were the liberal intellectuals and cultural critics. The Jews were trying to create order in the world by obedience to the law, to tradition, to kinship ties. The Greeks attempted to create order through reason and understanding, logic, education. We do the same today in politics. The conservatives versus the progressives. Each is convinced that the other side are morons, right? But here's the truth. Strict adherence to either worldview can never fully succeed in creating world order because neither worldview has the ability to incorporate the negative, which will always be present, that negative. The greatest enemy of the ordinary daily goodness and joy is not imperfection, but the demand for some supposed perfection or order that does not exist. William James wrote a lot about our shadow side, and there seems to be a shadow side to almost everything. All things are subject to antisocial pressures. No one is perfect. No model is perfect. No philosophy is perfect. But if we can open ourselves to the idea that the shadow side, which we might call evil, is a necessary part of life, if we're able to adopt a unitive or non-dual mind that posits that it's all one and the same, rather than split into good and evil, then we can accept this very real and present fact and not panic. We can grow because of the presence of evil. And even grow beyond it. In fact, as we'll discuss, we might even come to the place where we realize that evil is a less than useful model. First of all, neither a liberal pattern nor a conservative worldview can ultimately eliminate disorder and misery. Jesus is seen as a great teacher, and even for some, Jesus is himself God. But even he was unable to control the forces against him during the time he lived. He didn't overthrow the Roman Empire. In fact, he was crucified by them. But in a stunning turnabout, the Apostle Paul says the revelation of the cross makes us indestructible because it reveals there is a way through all absurdity and tragedy. And that way is precisely through accepting absurdity and tragedy, trusting that it's part of the same universe as we are, made of the same stardust, a product of evolution, just like everything else. Now, if we can internalize this idea, we have a chance of not falling into cynicism, failure, bitterness, and skepticism. Radical acceptance gives us a precise and profound way through the difficulties that the shadow side of life presents, and through our disappointments when those difficulties arise. Now, does this sound like foolishness? Naivete? Well, here's the truth. Evil is here. And by evil, I mean things that are injurious to us, things that are unfair to us, things we don't like. But you don't have to get very far outside of our atmosphere before you realize our ideas of good and evil are very subjective. The rest of the universe doesn't operate with this idea. A planet being sucked into a black hole doesn't say, rats, if only I made a left turn back there, I could have avoided being annihilated, right? Ironically, for all of our differences, we as humans generally agree that certain things are evil. We recognize that evil has been part of our lives and our civilization since the very beginning. Unless you believe in some kind of nirvana or enlightened state that can be accessed now, then I imagine you agree with me that evil will always be a part of this earth. Second, the compassionate holding or acceptance of essential meaninglessness or tragedy as it presents itself in our lives is the final and triumphant resolution of all the dualisms and dichotomies that we face in our lives. Holding on to that hope, rather than a hope of some particular outcome that seems good to us right now, that's what helps us keep moving forward in the face of difficulties. In this Easter season, we can choose to see the cross of Jesus as pointing us to radical acceptance of evil. We can see it as a story that teaches us that no matter what happens, we can persist and grow through the tragedy. And given that, we might even say that we are thus saved by the cross. Did I just blow your mind? Evil, imperfection, has a purpose. The builders of Waymo, the self-driving car, recently had to adjust imperfection. They had to add it to their software because their cars were performing poorly in real life because they were driving perfectly. Waymo always yields. It always waits for a completely safe opening in traffic. As you can imagine, this means they don't do a good job of actually getting anywhere, right? So they needed to drive less perfectly in order to function in traffic today. Imperfection makes them more effective. Well, it's the same with search engines. They're designed to give you some imperfect answers to your search. It's why you do a search on a topic and something will pop up that was not exactly what you asked for. It's even better. You didn't know that you should ask for it. In this way, search engines are designed to be imperfect, and that makes them even more effective. So thirdly, what might happen if every Easter we celebrated the resurrection story in the Bible, not as a resuscitation of a single corpse nearly 2 millennia ago, but more as the ongoing resurrection of all of humanity? Easter could be our annual affirmation of a personal, ongoing resurrection from violence to peace, from fear to faith, from hostility to love, from a culture of consumption to a culture of stewardship and generosity, and in all these ways and more, from death to life. What if our celebration of Easter was so radical in its meaning that it tempted tyrants and dictators everywhere to make it illegal? Because it represents the ultimate scandal, an annual call for creative and peaceful insurrection against all status quos, which are based on fear, hostility, exclusion, violence. What if we stopped making Easter claims about the person Jesus in AD 33, but instead continually make Easter claims on ourselves today, declaring that now is the time to be raised from the deadness of evil and fear, hostility, exclusion, and violence to walk in what the Apostle Paul called newness of life? What if Easter was about our ongoing resurrection in a new humanity marked by a strong, benevolent identity as peacemakers, enemy lovers, offense givers, forgivers, boundary crossers, and movement builders? What kind of character would this form in us? How might our fellowship and our Fredericksburg area be changed because of this? Retired Episcopal Bishop and Choctaw citizen Stephen Charleston
offers this celebratory song for the coming of new light and new hope. He writes, "Rise up, faithful friends. Wake up, sleepers in the shadows. Wake up to see bright banners on your horizon. Wake up to see your redemption coming to you, to so many of your prayers, the fulfillment of your dream from long ago. Rise up, faithful friends, to shout the good news to the morning sun. Justice has arrived at last. Mercy has returned. Love has won the day. Rise up, good people of many lands, for this is the moment of change. The time when hope starts to be real and truth begins to speak to every courageous heart. Wake up, rise up, rejoice." Now, I can hear you saying, "David, that's all well and good, but did you read today's headlines?" A large number of us see Trump as the threat to democracy because of his ongoing attempts to overturn or cast doubt on election results, his ever-expanding and misused presidential power, and his rhetoric about punishing opponents. We're troubled by his frequent attacks on the press, labeling unwelcome coverage as fake news and spreading claims that fact-checkers are false. I'm no longer sure that we share the same sense of reality. The way Trump's rhetoric about immigrants, Muslims, and political opponents is dangerous, and his us versus them talk can legitimize discrimination or political violence. We worry about the impact of his agenda on the economy for ordinary people in the areas of healthcare costs, reproductive rights, immigration, and protections for minority groups. And what if he found a way to so gerrymander the U.S. that ultimately there are no more elections? A never-ending Trump term could weaken independent institutions and further politicize government agencies. It would be easy to fall into despair in our current political climate. Keep it clean. Trump's style makes it hard for us to be hopeful and charitable toward others, especially when we disagree with it. But these people are not going away. The question is, how do we proceed from here? I don't think that anger is a good or necessary driving force. I know some people disagree. Hear me out. Now, more than ever, we need clear-headed thinking. We don't need any more emotional reactions. Eric Stoddard is going to be holding an internet safety class in a couple of weeks. One of the things that allows scams to happen is people reacting emotionally to an email. When our emotions flare up, our ability to reason and think critically goes out the window. The feeling that I must act right now or something horrible will happen is the scam artist's greatest tool. Well, guess what? This works in politics too. You can use a lot of rhetoric and emotional talking points to get people either riled up or afraid, and suddenly people no longer stop and say to themselves, is this really true? When your emotions are running hot, the thought that this might not be true never occurs to you. So I think we are better served to set anger aside when we have discussions about next steps or our response to the latest insanity coming from DC. We of all people need every ounce of reason and critical thinking we can get. Think too with me about your own life. When I get really angry, that's the time when I'm most likely to say something I'll regret or do something that I'll regret. In AA, we say that I didn't get in trouble every time I drank, but every time I got in trouble, alcohol was involved. Well, guess what? It's the same with anger. Something bad doesn't happen every time I get angry, but most assuredly, if something bad happens in my life, anger was probably involved. And it's for the same reason our ability to think and act rationally is completely impaired when we're angry. One more thought on this. Anger is also exhausting. It's tough to keep up the intensity. And that is because it's never meant to be a long-term strategy. Our bodies can't handle the constant influx of adrenaline. It tears us up inside. So what do? If we're not angry, then aren't we just capitulating to the bad guys? Are we supposed to take it and have no feeling of disappointment or distress? Well, here's my point. Before I could do anything about my alcoholism, I had to accept that I was an alcoholic. From the place of acceptance, not anger, not grief, not shame, acceptance sets us up to find inner strength and clear thinking. Now, accepting Donald Trump does not mean agreeing with everything he does. It means that we recognize that he is our reality. He is made of the same stardust, came from the same evolutionary pool as you and me. The question right now is not, is President Trump doing good or evil? The real question is, how do we respond? How do we live with this and find a way to transcend it? Jumping up and down and shouting, it shouldn't be this way, helps no one. It is this way. Let's take this situation apart piece by piece and figure out a brilliant way to get through this in one piece. Half of the country isn't going to disappear or change their mind once Donald Trump is out of office. There'll still be our neighbors and brothers and cousins. We have to find a way to transcend the time we find ourselves in and bring them all with us. Martin Luther King famously said, it does no good for the oppressed group to rise up and take over the oppressors if they're going to become oppressors themselves. The goal is to end oppression. It's not about fairness or some scale of justice or revenge. By being wise, we can transcend this in such a way that we bring healing and love back to the forefront. I don't believe anger is the path to that end. We have to do the difficult work of finding common ground. We must see the sacredness of every person and work to communicate that in meaningful ways. We don't win simply by getting more Democrats in office. Yes, I hope with all my heart we get more Democrats in office, but that doesn't fix the real problem. We're back at acceptance again. We have to accept that our real problem is not Donald Trump. Take a breath. Our real problem is believing our fear. Not seeing that evil is a necessary part of life. Look at MAGA. I cannot understand why people would follow that philosophy unless I recognize their fear. Fear of change, fear of economic insecurity, fear of others, fear of being belittled and unappreciated. When I see these things, then it begins to make sense. But how about you and me? Are you afraid of what's happening in the world right now? I am. And you know why? It's because I've not really accepted our situation. I'm stuck with the idea that I know a better way for the world and the universe to be. If only people would listen to me, we could all be much more happy. And with that ridiculous belief, I fight against reality. Inside, I'm jumping up and down screaming, it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this. And maybe we have this in common with all of our MAGA friends. Well, yes, it should be this way. You know how I know that it should be this way? Because it is. It is. The universe brought us right to this place. Every person, every decision, every particle, every atom had to be exactly as it was for us to end up here. And here we are. I, for one, don't have a clue about what life would be like today if Kamala Harris had won the presidency. I can tell myself a story about how much better it would be, but there's no way that I can know that for sure. My predictions of the future are consistently dead wrong. We simply cannot know the true result of any change we think we might make. Unintended consequences of past decisions should temper our pride in thinking we know a better way for the universe to be. Now, the book of Job is a confounding part of the Bible. In it, God gives Satan permission to torment Job for no apparent reason. When it's all said and done, Job asks God why he allowed that. And God answers that Job has no comprehension of, or even the smallest parts of the universe. So how could he possibly understand this situation? Now, that's not a very satisfying answer unless you can see that the author is saying that our worldview, our philosophy of life, must include things we don't understand, things that seem completely unfair and even cruel to us. We have to acknowledge that this is part of life, the shadow part. If we can find a place of acceptance, then we can find our next step forward. So, let's tie all this up with a great big bow. Accepting that evil is a necessary part of life on earth, then we can begin to resurrect. We walk through the evil. We transcend it with love. When we can see Easter as a story that teaches no matter what, we can persist and grow even through the greatest tragedy. Let's make Easter the annual affirmation of our ongoing resurrection from violence to peace, from fear to faith, from hostility to love, from a culture of consumption to a culture of stewardship and generosity. In all these ways and more, from death to life. All right, did that freak you out? Did that blow your brains? Who has a comment? Who wants to ask a question? Share a thought. Who's going to be first? Okay.
I was awakened this morning from a dream. I was dreaming about the war. And it's a very distressing way to wake up and to dream about. I know how the world works. It's a world of duality. But really, what do you do about all of the stress that's being catapulted out there, and that our country is a big part of?
Sure. So I think we stress ourselves when we believe that we know a better way. That adds to the stress. It doesn't help us. If we can let go of that stress, then we have a much better chance of finding a good step forward. If we're angry and riled up, we're not probably going to find a good step forward. We're just going to perpetuate the fight. Yeah.
So there's turmoil.
Yeah.
And so what do a mindfulness meditation to let it go? Follow your breath, what? Walk in nature, what is your remedy for natural?
Yeah.
Us to be, even though we have a full understanding,
Mhm.
it's natural for us to be affected.
Sure. Sure, yeah. We have all kinds of feelings about what happens, right? The idea is we need to get past that. We need to transcend that, right? I don't know what the right answer is. I don't. I can tell you what I think, but I don't know if that's right. But I'm gonna have a much better chance of finding a very wise decision if I'm relaxed and calm. Meditation, there's all kinds of ways to help yourself get there. But bottom line, if we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling afraid, if we're feeling angry, it's because we believe, we know how the universe should be. Now just think about how ridiculous that is. We cannot know how the universe should be. Okay. Steve. Oh, somebody else?
Paula Barnes here. Happy Easter, everybody. Nice to see you. I have a message of hope today.
Good.
I woke up this morning thinking of Gary. Some of you know my husband that passed away 10 years ago. I'm wearing the necklace of our infinity symbol of our marriage. There's two of them, one for my daughter and one right here. But when I got in the car this morning, and I've been thinking about this tree for a month, about 25 years ago, walking in Chatham, about this time of year, Gary saw a seedling about 4 inches tall of that huge, huge tree, ginkgo tree outside of Chatham. You all know that tree. He scooped it up, put it in his pocket, and took it home, and then he planted it. I was really worried about it this spring. I check it every few days. Flexible branches, and it was a harsh winter. So I was thinking, well, if it is, it is. But then when I got in my car seat and walked over and pondered on that tree, it has little tiny leaves all over it, and so it just gave me some joy. But then the last, and I get these symbols from Gary all the time, but I drove into the parking lot and thought, wow, Easter really brings out a crowd here. And I thought, where am I going to find a parking spot? There was one spot left in front of Gary's tree at the Memorial Garden, so I very bravely got into that narrow spot. So happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Thank you. We've got a couple, yeah.
So I had heard about us stressing about everything that's going on in life and all the things that we're really struggling with, and I like to revert back to something that's helped me throughout my life is the serenity prayer of accepting the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I really do think that that resonates with what we're learning here today.
Yeah.
First, Ruth, we had a service a couple weeks ago about mindful meditation. We all learned how to meditate. And one of the things that I took from that is that we can take all that negative stuff inside of us and then we can let it go. And I know that, meditation doesn't fix anything. But the only thing that we have control over is how we feel. I took a class in college, it was a stress management class. And the biggest thing that I got from that class is that our emotional response to any situation is completely our own. We own it. It's nobody's fault. Nobody made me angry. Nobody made me sad. I have made myself angry. I made myself sad. And that I have control of that emotion to take a deep breath, see it, honor it, and let it go. And I think in times like these, terrible, terrible, terrifying times on the world stage for all these people, and then also, in this economy, and all the struggles that we are personally all going through every single day, it is important to remember we all have our own in and out battles that we are dealing with, and to give every single person we meet grace. I know grace is kind of a weird word for the Unitarian Church, but just giving each other the patience and the grace to remember we all have our own storms inside, and we are all trying to figure out how to radically accept it.
Steve?
I think everything that I've heard makes a lot of sense on an individual level, on a personal, emotional level, on a personal, spiritual level, and I also think that it's important to claim your anger. I intend to be angry every day that I wake up. I intend to nurse that anger. I intend to fuel that anger, because I think we're in an existential crisis in all kinds of ways. If you don't think we are destroying the very environment that sustains us, then you are in the wrong. This isn't just a matter of opinion. If you think our democracy is not being destroyed, the very foundations of it aren't being destroyed, then you are wrong. And I'm going to fight all of those battles and more. I'm not going to say I'm right on every freaking issue. That's not the point. Collectively, though, we are in an existential crisis. To pretend otherwise is to bank on our privilege as white, middle class, largely people who don't have to feel like we're terribly affected immediately by it. But we are all going to eventually fail.
Hi, sorry, I know we're over time, so I'm going to try to keep this brief. And I identify with everything that everybody else is saying about the anxiety, but also the anger. And the thing about me is I'm not really a fighter, I'm more of a lover. And when I think of trying to channel the anxiety and the anger and the fear, I thought of the fact that there are ways to help people in the community. I'm going to segue that into talking about how the UUFF was awarded a grant by the American Humanist Association to conduct a day of action for a day of empathy on May 2nd, and we're rallying the energy and the vibrancy of the community to show our members of our community that are impacted by ICE activity that there are people that obviously they're living in fear, honestly, about the hostility even of their own, like potentially their neighbors. We want to make collect some donations to gather resources. On May 2nd, we'll pack basically care packages and write letters of support. And then our friends at Virginia Organizing are help us identifying vulnerable members of the community that would benefit from those resources. So I'm trying to channel all that into acts of service because that's kind of my preferred. That's very personal to me, but that's kind of like what one option. If you see fit, come help us, do good.
Yeah, good. And we are running late, so if you need to move on, please feel free. No shame in that. All right, couple more.
Yeah, I, in support of what Rosemary just said, I was going to say that I channel my anger and anxiety into activism, and you end up meeting a lot of great people that you love being with.
All right, one more.
Hi, so I'm Dawn, and we are now signed up, for anybody who was here last Sunday, we are now signed up for a booth at Earth Day. And we're looking for people to volunteer that day, like to do 2-hour shifts. I haven't had a chance to do a sign-up Genius, but anybody that wants to volunteer, it's on April 18th from about 10 to 4. Come see me after the service.
All right. Thank you.
I'll just piggyback on that and say, yes, we're all feeling anxious and worried and scared and terrified, but you can help yourself feel a little bit better. Rosemary went out and got that grant for us. Thank you, Rosemary. There's lots of stuff you can do just in your own household, in your community here, and we need you.
So, opportunities to channel our energy. Here are some announcements, ways to do things. So we need greeters and security. So if you're interested in helping out in that, please talk to any of our greeters today. There's a Lectio Divina small group, which is where you read a passage, contemplate it, discuss any sort of sacred text, Buddhist, Native American, Hebrew, anything, just so you'll know. It's starting soon. Contemplative service, April 12th, 6 p.m. UU 101, right after the service today, the first Sunday of the month. After the service, yes. And there's a Sunday morning book group starting, Chosen Land, starting on April 12th. And there's an Easter egg hunt right after service, and I believe the Easter bunny is coming. That's what I heard from the magical grandma that I am. The Easter bunny is coming. All right, so the UUFF needs your generous support. If you love this fellowship and want to be an integral part of making a success, I encourage you to invest in us. Together we can build a strong, vibrant community of people who love each other and who work to make Fredericksburg a kinder place. If you're not giving on a regular basis, I encourage you to consider becoming a monthly donor. We also have an offering basket in the back for donations. You can also give by credit card online. See David. So please stand and join us in saying our closing words. As we depart this place, may we walk gently through the world, bringing understanding where there is confusion, patience where there is pain, and love where there is longing. Like the lotus which blooms because of the mud it transforms, may our hearts remain open, steady, and radiant with peace. Go in peace.
say hello to all my team out there.